All right, so I wanted to walk you guys through your final presentation, walk you through some examples here, and then we will go forward and I'll talk about kind of expectations. All right, so let's get started. I'm going to open the final presentation sheet. Again, I'm not going to read all of this to you, but I do want to just kind of talk to you guys about what do I expect. Okay. So this presentation again should be a clear outline of the beginning to end. So think of it as a process presentation, right? You want to explain your process. So, if I'm the client, if whoever you're preparing this for is the client, how do you outline everything for them so they can understand the full process and they can understand why this is the best design solution for what they need? You always want to, even if you're not in the situation, you always want to function under the assumption that you have to essentially kind of sell and convince the client that this is the best solution. If three other designers and you are pitching for a project and you go into a room and do a pitch, you need to prepare everything in a way that clearly explains and clearly articulates why this is the best solution. So, your presentation, first of all, you can work in PowerPoint, you can work in Keynote, which is Mac's version of PowerPoint, you can work in Google Slides, or you can just create this directly in InDesign. If you work in InDesign, use just a standard 8.5 by 11 size, okay? I don't recommend you working from a template in either of these. Create your own template. You guys are designers. This should be formatted specifically for your branding. So don't pick just a yay random PowerPoint that you think will look good. Really customize it to your colors, to your brand, to your fonts, because that's going to make everything more cohesive. You should have consistency in header and font usage, so your titles that you have on the top of the page, that should all be consistent. You should have consistency in how you label images. You have subtitles on your images and captions as needed to clarify things to your audience. Now, one disadvantage that you guys do have is that you are not verbally presenting these to anyone. So, you might have some extra information on your slides to get your point across, but you should make sure that it's easy to read and there's not too much text on the slides. Okay, so again, you're going to start with your presentation. If you use this area, the specs and outline, you shouldn't have any problem getting everything in there that you need. This is the outline for your presentation. So again, we'll start with the intro and project backgrounds. You will have your title slide with your organization's logo and your name and course number. You'll have a little bit about your organization, its mission statement, and then about your organization specifically, or just a brief summary of it. Visual and written examples of research methods and inspiration. So, again, use information from your research worksheet. That would be super helpful to include. You can even scan or put a good photograph of your research worksheet in there if you want to. I mean, obviously, it would look better if it was formatted in text on your slides, but we want to see that raw creative process in that research. And next, so the next phase of your presentation, you will discuss and show your brand persona, your concept, your strategy, and all of your brand components. So I will want to see your mood board. Please don't just put your mood board in there. Resize it to fit properly in your presentation. And when I say resize, I don't mean place it in there and shrink it down. Like if your slides are, 11 by 8.5, go into your mood board, tweak the dimensions, and place it into your presentation. Brand board featuring your final logo, so you'll put your brand board in there. Again, reformat your brand board. Don't just throw that brand board into your slides. Bring those ingredients in, copy and paste them into your presentation, and reorganize them so they look nice on the slide. Okay? Discuss and show web concept and strategy, all components, mock-up of website home screen. So the mock-ups, I have a mock-up video that you guys can preview if you have questions about mock-ups. I want you to mock up your home page on a desktop computer. Make sure that makes its way in your presentation. Be sure you also show the flat screen of your website, so just the JPEG flat version. And then clearly discuss your web design strategy. I want you to show and include your wireframes. So again, you can scan them or you can take good quality images of them and put them in there. But for each component, you want to break down the process, okay? So for the logo, you want to show the beginning to the final product. For the website, you want to show the beginning to the final product. And the same thing with the app, okay? Mock-up of mobile app and app screens. So again, you have those mock-ups that I provided to you. Include again scans and sketches of your wireframes, and include the video and preview a demo exported from XD. So I have tutorials on how to do that. I want you to put your little demo video in your presentation as well. In Blackboard, there's instructions on how to put the link to your demo in there. Okay. And then the last couple of slides, I just want you to summarize your process. Talk about the project outcomes, what you learned, critique the project, pros and cons of your project, maybe things that you would have done differently now that you know a little bit more, or things that you would like to add on to this project in the future. And then also just a simple thank you and ending slide. Okay. So again, do's and don'ts. Don't put a ton of text on your slides. We need to, again, you guys won't be verbally presenting, so you might have more text than the previous examples, but nobody wants to read just pages and pages of text. That's super boring. So make sure, this presentation is a design piece within itself. So make sure that you don't let typography and layout and those best practices go to the wayside. Okay, you need to make sure you're focusing on good execution in the presentation as well. Okay. All right, so you guys can read through that presentation example. Again, this presentation that you're looking at is based on last year's assignment. They had slightly different assignment specs, but overall the presentations are fairly similar. You guys will just have different components, okay? So I have my logo with your name and the course title, and then the next slide the next slide, I have the mission statement and about the organization, research and inspiration. So I have who the organization is, their goals, their values, their services. This would be a great way to break down your organization. One thing too, there's not a minimum slide count for this presentation. However, you should cover all of the required information. So if it takes you 5 slides, if it takes you 15 slides, that's okay, as long as you get your point across and you summarize all the information that I need, okay, and that we're looking for. Okay, the second phase is discuss and show brand persona and strategy and all brand components. So here I have my brand board. So this is, pay close attention, this has been beautifully reformatted to fit this. Okay, that's not just a random portrait size document that I threw in here. I reformatted and rearranged the elements to look really good on a slide. Okay, I have my brand persona. So this is information that could come from your research worksheet. You guys had similar questions on your research worksheet. And then I'm going to scroll down. So web strategy, I have my wireframes. I have my flat web designs. And then again, I have the mock-up. And if I click that hyperlink, it takes me to a video demo. Okay. And then I have the app process. So again, their assignment was to do social media for mobile devices. You guys will have app screens, but still just imagine that this is app screens instead of social media, and it's a very similar vibe. Okay, I've got the sketches, I've got the wireframes, and then I have my beautiful mock-ups. Okay. So that is kind of, she had a thank you slide in here too and a summary slide. I didn't include that, but that is kind of a sum up of how to go about the flow of that. So let's jump back to Blackboard. And if you go to presentation examples, again, this is in your Google Drive folder, your course folder, but I'm going to go ahead and show you some more examples. You guys can look at these on your own as well. But again, if I look at this one, Blind Veterans Association, I've got my logo, I've got student name, I've got their mission statement, research and inspiration. This one, if you're looking for probably one of the best examples in the class as far as including all the information, this was one of the stronger ones of that semester. So again, research, brand persona, and then my mood board that is beautifully formatted to a slide. And she actually designed hers in InDesign. Okay, everybody last semester designed theirs in InDesign. So again, you will notice on each of these, I have the BVA logo and then I have a header. Okay, so very consistent formatting. I'm using my brand colors and my fonts in my presentation. I've got my social media mock-ups there. I've got my strategy. They had to do a complete redesign, so they've got a before and after. You guys will not necessarily have a before and after, but you show your wireframes, show your end product. Again, wireframes, end product, landing page, and then if I click this, should take me to the demo. Yeah. So there's the demo. So you guys will have, instead of the web page prototype, you guys will have the app prototype, but it'll be the same concept. Okay, and then a thank you slide. Again, they didn't have a summary slide, but I think having you guys, since you're not verbally presenting these, having you guys add a summary slide would be super helpful. So again, she did this in 10 slides, you guys, but I get a very good outline of what all research went into this and what her process was. Okay, so this is also an exercise in communicating your process. And we'll take a look at one more and then we'll be good to go. So again, logo, name, class. Okay, so mission statement, methods and inspiration, brand persona, mood board. So for the mood board, I'd want to see a little bit more than just colors. Fonts. So he's kind of breaking his up into individual slides, which is fine. But you guys could probably get everything on one slide. There's some inspiration, wireframes, my flat screens of my site. So again, their assignment was a tad different. They had to do multiple pages of the site. You guys just had to do one, but this is still a good example of how to go about showcasing this information. Computer mock-up, social media mock-up. So yours will be an app on a phone instead of social media, obviously. Strategies. And then again, before and after. You guys didn't have to do a before and after. The view demo and the thank you. So let's see if that still works. Yep. So again, there's a demo. Perfect. And then a thank you slide. So you guys will notice most of these presentations, as far as how they are designed, are fairly simple. I don't have a ton of fuss and decoration. Again, regardless of what slide creation software you use, where it's Google Slides, Keynote, PowerPoint, I would try to design it from scratch as much as possible, because if you just use a default template that doesn't match your branding, that's just going to look tacky and it's just going to look very unpolished. So please make sure that you are customizing. Even if you are using a template, you better customize the crap out of it, because if you just use a default template and just throw stuff in there, that's not going to look very professional. So you need to make sure that you really think about how you present your components. So again, there's more examples. I encourage you to look at those. You're welcome to design your presentation in whatever you would like, but at the end it has to be exported as a PDF. Okay, so I will make sure that you have instructions on how to save from a PDF and PowerPoint, Keynote, whatever. But on my end, it needs to be a PDF. That way I don't lose any formatting and I have everything. Okay, so that is a brief presentation overview.